ago, there's a saying, of course, the bribery was looked down in the society. But even that time, if you pay bribe to a person, you know the work will be done. But right now, many people say, if you give bribe, you do not know it's not going to work. So this is the level we have really gone through. What I'm trying to say, of course we do not want corruption, but you cannot find a single country in the world where there is a corruption. Even in this country, my own research says that about 10% of the economy is underground. So now, of course there will be corruption. You cannot in this human fitra. People, even the most, I'm talking about the person that know otherwise very good. There are different levels of corruption. What I'm trying to say that our corruption does not have a development bias. It has an anti-development bias, and this has to be stopped. Many people say that Ashad was a bad guy, but during his time, a lot of work happened. Somewhere this guy has institutional corruption. I'm not saying it's good or bad. What I'm saying that we have to have a development attitude towards work being done. Right now, one of the reasons I cannot prove it, 15 months, there is not even blueprint about the electricity sector. Part of the reason, because at the top, now they're fighting who is going to get what piece of the pie. So again, the corruption is hindering even going forward. We have to really think very strategically what should be done. Effective and fast recovery of the energy sector, public-private partnership, another thing. Last budget, if you see, so okay, the government will mix with the private sector in order to develop the country. But even after 7 or 8 months, there is no blueprint how that is being done. And part of this reason is the lack of capacity at the domestic level. Yes, they can tap our foreign Bangladeshi nationals, teaching and doing research or doing many things in all over the world. They can bring those staff in order to help the government. And I believe, I give her credit, the Sheikh Hasina does have a knack for looking for these intelligent people. Of course, I don't mind really. Go and get an Awami League person from United States or from UK, and there are good people. They really love the country. If the country develops, everybody benefits. We have to have this vision so that if it is done by Awami League, so what? If it is done by BNP, so what? If the country develops, it's good for everyone. We need to really diversify exporting. Simply cannot live on the garments. We really need to look at many other different markets. We have to have the external relations for trade, manpower, export and investment. Economic diplomacy of our consulates, of the embassies has to be improved. Reduction of the interest rate has been done because you cannot really do business with such a very high interest rate. Reducing tax rate should be another goal. Economic role of social responsibility to be established by all corporations. Corporate social responsibility, they have to be accountable to the people what they're doing because they're doing business with our money, with our people. They're doing business in the country and they must share the profit of these things with the rest of the country through corporate social responsibility or called good governance. Now I'm going to touch a little bit about the political scenarios. Of course, the international relations. Our Prime Minister has visited India, then China, and made a number of concrete treaties and as well as memorandum of understanding. What is missing? Bangladesh is not a country of Awami League, not a country of BNP, not a country of Jamaat Islami. It's a country of all parties. So we have to keep this in mind. So whenever we deal with a foreign country, those kind of treaties or those kind of memorandum of understanding should be negotiated among the all parties. There should be a debate before we make a treaty with any country. Because otherwise, this electoral politics, let's say for example, Awami League has super majority right now. But what percentage they vote? 50%? And the 50% are not really Awami League. What I'm trying to say that, if the people do not believe the ownership of whatever we're doing, next time another government comes in and it will be one step backward. And this is not what we want. We have to move forward together. And this kind of thing should be discussed properly within the political arena. All military, you have stories, rumor, what did what. And actually I did meet General Moin one time. Actually, I went to see him right before he was about to quit, after the election was done. There are different theories. I really cannot prove or disprove. I did ask him point blank at the army headquarters that, do you think that election was fair? And he told me yes. And his calculation was that 15% of the voters all along has been wrong and false voter. So what did you do? At least to the election commission, they said they have, streamlined the voter list, and because the people, this 15% vote was not there, even 10%, and Bangladeshi politics, the electoral politics, there are 100 centers where the decision is being done anywhere between 1,500 to 3,000 votes. So if people are the right to vote, they will exercise the vote, and that's the one. So this is what is the version. The other version is, many people say that they had some targeted list, certain areas. Of course, the election was done, but there's some targeted. So all these hotspots make the result as it is. But that's not the question. Yes, the parliament is in the majority by the Awami League, but the 50% of the voters are not, or it's a protest vote. So you have to somehow engage the other 50% in the electoral process. So we have to keep this in mind, otherwise a divided nation really cannot move forward. War crimes, another thing. You know, I'm sure you read, I read, I'm not a student of law, but the act that I see under which this thing is going to be done, this is flawed. Let me tell you, I was born in 1963. During the Liberation War, I was 8 years old. I have been living in this country for the last 27 years. The only thing that I remember about Liberation War, that I was playing from I used to live in Kumilla to my village in the Brownbari. And when I was going, and the Pak army was going up, and I was, whatever surah I used to know, I was just reciting this, because this is probably the death, right now he's going to shoot me. That's all I remember about Liberation War. But you'll be surprised to know that there are some quarters telling me I'm a Rajaka. So what I'm afraid, that under which the evidence that is permissible, if I don't like you, I will make you Rajaka. I will do this, I will do that. So if they want to carry on the process as the electoral campaign, do that. But it has to be acceptable. It is not really political trial, it has to be actual trial, so that if those who really did, even Islam says, if somebody did some heinous thing, they should be punished, but not to target certain parties, certain leaders, and so on. So we have to be very careful, and we have to really, as a human being, for the sake of justice, you have to be concerned about this thing. Fifth Amendment, another thing. Have you ever read, all you know that the appeal has been denied. Have you seen the verdict? After the Fifth Amendment, it says that it is denied, but with some observation and modification. That verdict is not even out yet. But the way the responsible party in the government saying, okay, the politics should be based on, religious-based politics should be banned, and so on. How can they talk about this? Following a religion, even the India has religion-based politics. They are a secular country, they are not doing this. Now people, when they talk from the top, without even seeing the verdict, this shows something that they have another motive really. What I believe, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was the father of nation. He was a good man, he was a nationalist leader. He had all the good things about this country, but he was always surrounded by chamchas and advisors who really never let him to see the real truth. Same thing is happening, unfortunately, I feel. Our Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, is also surrounded with people who are not really telling her what is the reality is. Now, it is our duty too. If you are Awami League, let Sheikh Hasina know that, hey, look, sister, you are doing something wrong. You are from the other party, you also should tell him, because this is our country. If we lose our country, we lose everything. I plan to go back and live in my country during my retirement life. I'm sure many of you do. We want a country which is prosperous and good. Judicial independence, another thing. Fine. I'm in power, I'm going to appoint the people who belong to my ideology. No problem. But they are good